My name is Kimby Jagnandan, and I had a massive heart attack at age 38. I was in the hospital to have my gallbladder removed. And when I was in recovery from the gallbladder surgery, I actually experienced having my heart attack. I actually didn't know I was having a heart attack at the time. I was waking up from the anesthesia from the gallbladder surgery, and I started having severe pain in both of my upper arms, and my arms felt like they were on fire. It was pain like I had never, ever felt before. And the nurse ran over and she started asking me questions about my heart. And I've never had a heart issue, although heart disease does run in my dad's side of the family. And I didn't even think that I might be having a heart attack. But then I told her that I felt a little nauseous and I could feel pain in the left side of my neck and my left jaw. And she gave me what I believe was an aspirin to chew on. And it still didn't register that I could be having a heart attack. And then all these doctors and nurses started surrounding me and asking me more heart questions. How long have you had a heart issue? How long have you had a problem with your heart? And I just kept saying, I don't have anything wrong with my heart. Nothing's wrong with my heart. And I started thinking maybe they had the wrong patient. They were asking me so many heart questions. And the next thing I knew, I was being wheeled into the cath lab. It finally hit me when I heard someone say she has a blockage. And I knew what a blockage meant. And there was a nurse standing by my head. And I said, what percentage? And he said 80%. And that's when I knew there was probably something wrong with my heart, although I still didn't put two and two together and know that it was a heart attack. So I had an 80% blockage in my LAD, which is my widowmaker, and they had to put a balloon pump into the artery to open it up. And then they had to put a stent in. So I do have one stent. And while they were doing the procedure, my ejection fraction actually dropped to about 15%. So my heart was barely pumping. And the next thing that I remember, I was in the ICU and there was a nurse yelling at me to breathe while he was pumping the CPAP over me to help me breathe. And he was like, breathe, breathe. And then the next thing I remember, I saw my entire family standing at the foot of my bed in the ICU, and they were waving at me and, saying, we hope you feel better. And then the next thing I remember, it was the next morning and doctors walked into my room and they were asking about my heart attack. And that's when I was able to start asking questions. And I found out I had had a heart attack at age 38. Even though I knew that heart disease was in my future, I was thinking heart disease was 20 years in my future. And I could figure it out or deal with it 20 years from now, because my grandparents had heart disease late in life, like in their 60s or 70s. My uncles, my aunt, and my dad didn't experience anything with their hearts until their late 50s, early 60s. I never expected to have anything as a young person. And I think that is the perception that a lot of people have, is that it's an older person's illness. And it's not, because I'm, walking proof of that. And I've met other people that are younger than me that have had heart disease or have had heart attacks. I think it's really important that families sit down and have an open and honest discussion about their family health, so that if there is something like heart disease that runs in the family, then you can get the help that you need. You can talk to your doctors. You can include that information on the medical information when you're filling out the forms in your doctor's office, so that your physicians are aware of this information. That will help them help you get the treatment you need, get the information to you that you need in case you might be impacted by that disease later on in life.